All right, good afternoon, you guys. Going to go ahead and go over the daily recap with you. Again, on this channel, we're all about transparency and just showing you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. We did finish the day in the green, as you can see from the thumbnail. But going to show you a trade that we took here in the London session here. So going to go ahead and just sit back and watch that with you. So give me 1 second here. See what we get. See what the market offers us. Looks like that's going to be a big wick to the downside there on the 15-minute. Looks pretty weak as far as strength to the downside goes. So far anyway. Still early in that candle. So it could still fill it up there. So what we'd like to see is for this 1 minute to kind of pierce this VWAP, break this swing high here, and then possibly trade back into a gap or some sort of order block for this move up into the 60s. That'd be nice. Get a little 20 or 30 point mover to the upside. Would kind of be ideal. Let's see here. See if there's. I'm just looking to see if there's any reason that might not happen. We did approach a pivot here at 44.38 on the ES. Of course, I don't have the ES pulled up, but you can see we can look at it here. 44.38 is a pivot, so we failed to break through that pivot and hold it. Kind of bounced off that pivot area. So kind of bouncing out of there, leaving a bit of a volume imbalance here on the 3-minute chart. Probably want to come back and clean that up at some point. Like I said, ideally we bounce out of here, maybe clear the 20 SMA at least, or somewhere into this area, into the 30, 15 to 30, and then maybe we revisit down here before blasting out of there. Maybe offer us an entry. Long, potentially. At least that's the potential setup. You don't always get what you want, but that's all right. We'll see what happens. See if we can't capitalize and if it gives us what we're asking for here. You may ask yourself, well, how come you just don't go ahead and jump in if you think it's going to go here? Well, that's not the setup. Silver bullet setup is we get a structure shift to the upside, we trade back into a PD array, whether that's an order block, fair value gap, whatever you're using, and then you ride it. You ride it to the next potential liquidity, which your first target would be here, second target here. So that's what we're looking for here. As you can see here, we're getting this structure shift to the upside that we were thinking of there on the 1 minute chart. We'd like to see it pierce the 31 level, and that will do it on both. We'll have a structure shift at that point, possibly leaving us a gap here for this move on to the upside. And like I said, we're taking base hits today, so $200 per trade. Hey, I'm going to be happy with that. You can see, like, when I first got filled here, you'd say, oh, man, you got filled too soon. But in reality, no, that's pretty much a bottom tick. When I was over here watching the ES, seeing it approaching the pivot, knowing that this is a possible reversal zone, so I didn't want to shoot for too much there. Just want to kind of take the low-hanging fruit, if you will, and go from there. So technically we did get the shift on the 1 minute here, and now it's kind of trading back into this. I guess we could put our entry down here at the 15. That's ideally where we'd like to see it trade into. Like to see it trade back into that 15. It may not make it that far, but as we don't actually have an established gap yet on the 3-minute chart. You don't have to have one, but it's nice to kind of have that extra confluence on the 3-minute and the 1-minute kind of together there. So we got about another minute. We have created a gap on the 2-minute chart here that it's about to trade back into. Did it quite make it there? Let me look. I didn't quite make it there. That's at 21.50. So we also have a volume imbalance on the 2-minute chart down at 16.75. So I don't think I'm going to take this entry just yet. This might be me missing it, though, to be honest. Because this technically is a structure shift to the upside, and we're kind of trading right back into it. But I don't want to be too aggressive here. I want to wait, potentially get this trade back into this 16.75 area, which would put this back into this kind of first gap. That also would reduce our risk. I mean, if we're getting long at, potentially 16.75, then we're only risking basically 8 handles here for this move up. Something like that. 16.50. Something along those lines is what I'm looking at. And we'll target, 41.50 would be a nice target. So let's see if we get filled here. Now, of course, this could just be a pushback up on this into this order block to take a short back down to these lows again. It's always a possibility. Because let me look here. Let me see here if I like this or not. Don't really have a shift on the 3-minute yet. We only have the shift really on the 1-minute. All right, so I think I'm going to take this off. Since we've only got the structure shift on the 1-minute here, I mean, I don't consider this a structure shift until we clear the 31. And since we do have this order block here and we traded right into it, this leads me to believe this might just be a move back down to take out this low a day again. So let me wait. And if I'm wrong, that's completely fine. Not going to be mad about it. But this easily could come down. This is not, to me, enough of a shift. We didn't even leave a gap here. Now we do have this, this fair value, or this volume imbalance here. So you can see we traded right back to 16.75. Still didn't repaint this imbalance, and we're kind of moving up. So I don't see how this leaves that. Now that I'm looking at this, that would have been a decent entry right there off that order block. I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you. So you could have got short at 27. Had a nice little quick move down to 17 for 10 quick handles there. But, on the 1-minute chart, we did trade right back into an imbalance. We didn't fill it. And this may be one of those imbalances where you don't want it to fill it in. I'm not super familiar with those, or what constitutes one that you want to have filled in versus ones that you don't. So I'm not sure. So we could have just missed our entry there basically by one tick. On the 2-minute chart, we would have been getting long from the 21. We would have taken 5 handles of drawdown there. But that's all right. You're not going to hit them all, right? And I'm perfectly fine with missing that if that's what ends up happening there. It is, if this is your first time joining me, it is 2 a.m. here in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, United States. I'm sorry, 3 a.m. You never know what time it is. And I do trade the London Open 5 days a week. 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., somewhere in there. And then also trade the New York Open 9:30 a.m., 9:20 a.m. I start. At least until 11. Usually I'll trade a little longer than that. So, as you can see here, we didn't quite make it back up there. We bounced out of there, but it's kind of trading back into it. Now this, this is going to be one of those, in hindsight, where you're going to be like, oh, this was so clear this was a long, right? Or whatever. Or possibly a short. Structure shift to the downside, trade back up into an order block, boom, for this move to the lows. But in real time, you can make an argument for both sides here. You got a volume imbalance. This did not quite shift in structure on the 1 minute, on the 3 minute. Wanted to see a move into the 30. Now, shift in structure on the 1 minute's a little different. You can have a shift in structure, but it's not as strong. So I reevaluated this and thought that this is probably going to come and take this low. If it continues lower, then we know this was the silver bullet entry and we simply missed it, right? Structure shift to the downside, volume imbalance, trade back up into the order block. Boom. So after kind of reevaluating, that's kind of what I was seeing. I don't want to guarantee anything, but I think this is coming for this low. And it may not. We could be wrong. But when you can make an argument for both sides here, that's when you want to kind of take a step back, be careful. Even though I already put my orders on the book at that point, I was like not 100% sure. My thought process was, okay, it'll repaint this imbalance. So if I put my long position here at 16.50, repaints the imbalance, tags me in, and then continues higher. Still could do that, but I can make an argument for this move lower as well. So, and we've already locked in $200. And if you're unfamiliar with how I operate, my goal for the London session is $300 per account. So we're 2/3 of the way there already. So if we can find another entry, we'll lock in 100 as quickly as we can to kind of secure our goal and see how high it can go. And then we'll come back in the New York session and see if we can add to it a little bit there. That's the goal anyway. That would be the goal. And there we go. It filled the volume imbalance. Now it's attempting to bounce out of there. This is attempting to push the button as well, right? But I just noticed. I was thinking this was top step, and this was step 2 of. I'm sorry. This is apex. I thought usually I have top step on this side and apex on this side. I guess I mixed them up tonight. Not that it really matters. All right, just as I kind of suspected, this is coming for this low. So what does that tell me? This was the silver bullet setup here. Market structure shift to the downside. We took the shift for a trade. Trades back up into it. Did not get quite the shift to the upside that we wanted at the 31.52. We could have even taken 30 because of that swing high there. And now coming back down to take the lows. So I did not recognize this entry. That could come with not trading for what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's been 3 full days since I've traded. You know, so I'm a little rusty there. Could be a little rust developing. Who knows? So kind of created another order block here. Don't know if this will be respected though with another imbalance. You know, that's the imbalance that it painted through earlier. Still wouldn't have stopped us out here just yet. So this is not a guarantee that it's going to come take this out, because our stop would have been at 0825, just below these lows. But my feeling is that that's what's probably going to happen. That's my gut anyway. The ES actually looking quite a bit stronger. Let's pull over to the ES right quick. I mean, it's looking quite a bit stronger here. So maybe this doesn't take the lows. Maybe this does bounce out of here, because the ES is not near as weak, and it's hasn't quite shifted to the upside yet, but is very, very close. So this actually might bounce out of here. Very interesting here. Do we take the entry based on what the ES is doing? Is the question. Because ES looking stronger here than the NQ for sure. So is this going to bring the NQ with it here? I think it might. So I may take this entry just only on the Apex account here. We have very small risk at this point. We're risking 6 handles or so if I take the entry now. But I'm going to wait here for a moment. Because the ES did not shift to the upside yet, although it's very close. And this is, if you're not watching the ES while you're trading here, you need to be watching both indices, because, you know, this can give you an idea if the ES is stronger. So the ES made a low, but it bounced out of there, and it's, you know, quite a bit stronger here. You can see NAS made the new low, and it bounced out, but then it's just so. So I almost want to take this long here based on what the ES is doing. Now, it doesn't mean that the NQ won't come and sweep this low, because it might. But we can be a little more aggressive on the Apex account. Yeah. All right, we're going to take the entry long here. I should have hit it down here, but I didn't. So that's okay. So our original assessment appears to this point to have been correct. And that's the thing, you know, when I can make an argument for both sides. So now my entry's at 21, really should have been at 1650. But that's okay. Based on the strength of the ES here, this still should go pretty good. And like I said, our goal for the day is going to be $300 during this session. So if we get up $100 on this trade, we're going to go ahead and lock it in to break even. And then once we reach $200, we'll lock in 100. Kind of go from there. Possibly just targeting these swing highs for the full trade there. All right, we're going to go to Stone Cold break even. Well, I want to see it push through the 26 here, and then then I'll drop it. But Haven't dropped it yet, guys. So just holding it here, waiting for this to get through the 26 strong. Do hate that we're about 5 handles higher than we should be here, but that's okay. Once I kind of saw how strong the ES was there, I should have just jumped on in, but I hesitated. Hesitated a bit there. It may end up costing us on this trade. We may go in the red here if this fails, but because in order to have our stop where we really need it, I mean, we're now risking 14-ish handles instead of just, 4 or 5 if I would have hit the button in the 14 area there. I guess we still would have been risking 6 or 7, but I waited for it to kind of blast out of there a bit before I hit the buy button. So, yeah, it's kind of having a little pullback here. It approached the VWAP there on the 3-minute chart, so it may take it a second to get through there before it takes us on up with it. Needed to get through that VWAP strong there. VWAP at the 43 on the ES 3-minute chart. So get the ES pushing through the 43, 44 level here. Should take the NQ on up with it there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Like I said, if we would got the best entry, at least at the 1650 area where I originally had my order, we'd be up 5 handles already. But as it is, we took a worst entry, and yeah, did wait for a bit of confirmation, if you will. I mean, sometimes in trading, that's what you do. You wait for a bit of confirmation that the move's going to go in the direction that you think it is. So, all right, now 2175, we will lock in $40. Can't lose. So can't lose on it here. Let's see here. ES still pushing here, trying to approach that 44 level. And I almost just want to go ahead and lock in the $300, to be honest with you, for the day. But I'm going to wait and see kind of how this reacts. We'll drop it if we get above $200 here and profit. If we don't, we'll leave it at 40. ES moving up nice and strong there. Still going. This is on the Apex account. That's why I'm going to be moving my stop a little quicker than I may normally move it if it was just on the top step. Because of that drawdown, we want to give too much back. I'd like to get the full trade here, don't get me wrong though. See if we can get through this VWAP strong here. So we're locking in $100 right there. If it comes back, I may move it, but I would like to see it hold this 20 SMA. So I think it's in a decent spot. This guarantees us $500 in profit on this session. Still with the potential to move on through the 41s here. And what we may do is we may move our target a little higher as we go. Because this is the open and this is the swing. So that's your first, that'd be our first target there. Getting through the VWAP here on the 3-minute chart from the NAS. Want to get through there. If we can just get through there strong would be super nice. But ES is kind of approaching. Just kind of looking at the 5-minute chart on the ES. Let's see here. If we can get through here strong, let's get through this. Let's get through the VWAP strong here and just continue up. I don't see a reason why the ES would kind of slow down here, but again, I'm trailing this up kind of tighter than I would normally. So if we get stopped out here, it'll feel bad, but I'll be okay with it. Because again, we're locking in our profit for the day on this one account. So, well, not for the day, but for this session. But looking for more. Ideally, we get this push strong through the VWAP here and just continue up. Like I said, if we get to the 41s, that's $400. May move it on up to 49, just below the 50 level. If we continue higher here, nice and strong, want to be aware that we got that buy side liquidity sitting there. So if we can maintain this VWAP here, we'll go ahead and move this up. ES still showing no signs of really slowing down just yet. But if we move above the 38 here, then I think we'll go ahead and move our target up a bit. Don't want to be too aggressive though with this with moving this up. This is kind of the fine line in trading. You don't want to move your stop up too fast. You don't want to move your target too high. But at the same time, you want to keep those in logical areas. But at the same time, you don't want to stop yourself out and then this thing just blast higher. I'd like for this thing to move through the VWAP strong here. Kind of rejected the VWAP right now. Hasn't really gotten through there nice and strong yet. I want to kind of move my stop up to 29, but that's only $60 more. So what does that really gain me, right? So let's just leave it here. At $100, it really is too close. But since this is the Apex account, we're going to stick with this kind of trailing strategy here. So I want this thing just to blast right through the VWAP and keep going. And at that point, we can move our stop to just below the VWAP. And we may just go ahead and do that. Move our stop just below the VWAP. There. I'm moving it too soon, guys. I already know I am, but this doesn't, it came back to the VWAP twice here, almost 3 times. So I'd like for it to not revisit the VWAP and just make it to my target. So locking in whatever that is, 12 handles, $220. Still got our target up there at $400. Let's see if we can make it through there. All right, making it through 38. So we're going to move this target up a bit. And again, I'm trailing this very, very tight, guys. I know that I am. But I'm okay if I get stopped out. I'm not 100%. 100%, I'm fine with it. It's kind of leaving an imbalance here, which, to be honest, I'm not in love with that. With my stop as close as it is. Because it will probably come back to try to repaint that imbalance there. But let's watch it to see what happens here. Feels bad that I didn't take this on the Top Step account too, but hey, it is what it is, right? All right, we're approaching this liquidity, which could kind of be a turnaround point, if you will. So let's see, what are we locking in here? That's 14. 15 handles there is $300 we're locking in. And again, I'm aware that I'm trailing this a little too tight, but that's okay. We're up here to where it could turn around, and I don't want it to turn around on me. So move our target on up a little more here. So at this point, we're going to lock in our original target. $400. We might get stopped out up here, but I'm completely okay with that. If it just continues higher, then
stop filled.
Then that's fine too. So we got our full trade there, $400. Can kind of. All right, that's the trade there. I played the entire trade. I know it was a little bit long, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there if you did. Reason I played the entire trade, I wanted you guys to kind of see the psyche that goes into locating these trades. And, you know, you can see I was back and forth there. Is this the right entry? You know, is this the right trade? Just back and forth, back and forth. Second guessing myself, and then I finally get the confirmation with the ES moving up that we're indeed going to be on the right side of it. So, you know, that happens. But we locked in $400 there on that trade. We ended the day up $594 on this account. So the balance on this account is now $50,594. Still need about $2,400 to get it funded. Had a person in the chat today, John Jones, got long here at 44.18 on the ES, somewhere in this 11 o'clock area. So you can see certain John ended up having a very nice trade there. This thing moved up nicely all the way to the 44.44. So congrats, John, on that trade. Hopefully you locked in the most of that profit there, the large portion of that move. So that's the Apex account. Here's the Top Step account. You can see today $38.78. Balance $50,673. So still need about $2,325 on this account to get funded. And so that's it. That's going to be kind of the goal for this week, is to try to get these two accounts into the funded level and kind of go from there. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I will be live for every day for the London session between 3 and 4 a.m. And then I'll be live again for the New York session at 9:20 to 11 a.m. So if you would like, if you like this content, join me. Again, we're all about full transparency on this channel. So you're going to see the wins, the losses, the losses. There we go. The losses and everything in between. So that's going to be it for today, and we will see you next time.